Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamerdad, with another video for you. So tonight's episode of Should You Summon, we'll discuss all the various Fateful encounter banners as well as the Stardream encounter that's available as of this new update. Now note that this is an in-game update. We're still on the same version, 3.1.200, so just reset your game and you'll be able to load up all the new data through the main title screen. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So in terms of the Stardream, again, I did actually put out a video a couple of days ago of who I think are best units to be selecting through the Stardream. But just as a quick review, you do have a month to buy this. So August 13 UTC time. I wouldn't recommend right until the end, maybe a day or two before. And once you buy it, you have up to a month after pulling the Stardream encounter in order to use your Stardream piece, which allows you to select any 5-star in the game as of this update, including the newest units, ES Toova and Sesta. So note that there are expiry dates as well. Do not let it disappear. There have been horror stories that has happened, so make sure you use it before it is timed up. Other than that, the only thing you need to know is that this is a paid banner for those who are new to the game. And the special thing about this is you do a regular pull. It's a regular 10 pull with no increased odds. So the average of getting 1 5-star or more in this banner is about 3.6% chance. And then afterwards, you get that special Stardreams piece by which you can select any unit in the game to add to your roster. So all the way down, you can see that all the 5-stars are roughly 0.02% spread out. And of course, there are same things, bots, rainbow sisters, and knights. These are all the units selectable. And I clearly can see Sesta as well as, let's see if ES Toova is in here, which it should be. There you go. Ereshkigal. Okay. There you go. So again, won't spend any more time on the Stardream. Check out the video for who I think should select with the Stardream. I'll put the link in the description below. Now, we'll talk about the different banners for the Fatefuls. These were illustrated in the live stream through Scott, our global media manager. However, just as a quick review, we do have Sesta featured at 15% chance on the 10th pulls. Pulls 1 to 9 are only 0.04 and 0.02 respectively. And the other two featured wind units in this banner are Juno, aka ES Toova, as well as Cyan Scyther. Okay, and again, if you add those all up, 15 plus 7.5 plus 7.5 is only a 30% chance of getting one of the 3 units. Otherwise, the 70% chance is filled up with the other units remaining in the game. Remember that this is a paid banner, again, so they do guarantee at least 1 5-star on the 10th pull. You can actually pull 5-stars on pulls 1 to 9. And so for this one, again, as most Fateful encounters where there are 3 featured units, this is much better than the Fateful 7-day encounter, the Wind Force specific one featuring the newest unit Sesta, and the other 2 units are not bad at all. I mean, Cyan Scyther is the Alter Suzette, aka another version of my waifu, and she has preemptive Wind Zone Setter. She can also Awaken Zone herself, so she has the capability of supporting Sesta, because one of Sesta's interesting moves is that at the battle start, if you have 4 wind characters up front, she'll not only start Wind Zone, she'll Awaken Wind Zone, and after that, at the beginning of each turn, she will get a charge, in which case she can unleash all 5 of her special moves all at once, which can land devastating damage. Now, even if her Awakened Zone fades after a couple of turns, you can still use Cyan Scyther to kind of bring it back and do more with that. And of course, ES Toova, by now most of you do remember that she can boost a ton of stats onto any one DPS unit, in which case she would bless or put her face charge on Sesta, by which Sesta will do even more damage than she is already capable of. Not to mention, Judo is a wind unit that can set blunt zone as well. So a lot of awesome characters here. Of the 3, I would say Cyan Scyther unfortunately would probably be the weakest, but hey, still a very nice complementary piece, especially for those newer to the game. And speaking about anyone new to the game, welcome to another Eden. This is a great time to start. Just simply put, if you are willing to spend a little bit of money, definitely go with the Star Dream. If you are free to play and you don't want to spend any money, there are still great banners here. The ones I would recommend would be the Shrouded Wisdom, where you're aiming for Efi specifically. Even the other units are not bad at all. AS Flam, Eva, and so on and so forth. You can check out some of my 5-star reviews of some of those units, as well as the Yakumo. So those two banners specifically, I would spend free stones on to try to get those units. And really, the ultimate combination would be Efi and Yakumo, okay? Anyways, moving forward with that, speaking about Efi and Yakumo, the other featured unit, ES Toova, is going to be featured in this banner. Instead of a wind featured banner, this is a shade featured banner. So 15% chance of the newest shade unit, ES Toova, 7.5 respectively for Efi and Yakumo. Nothing else to say here except that obviously the same kind of odds for the other 5 stars in the game if you happen to not get the 30% chance. This one, in my opinion, is a must summon if you are missing 2 or 3 of the units. In ranking, I would say Efi by far is the most valuable. Yakumo is second, and as much as you say ES Toova is very powerful and new, I would still put her behind those two, and I'll explain my reasons why a little bit later when I talk about the characters more in depth. But still, very good value, and even at 7.5 times 2, I mean, you know, if you are missing Efi or Yakumo and you don't want to spend any money on the other banners, this is a way to do that. Star Dream, of course, is probably the most efficient, but if you need more than one, well, you know, there are options there. And finally, one last banner here, which is also paid. Lots of paid banners, not so many free ones. This is the standard Fateful encounter. 10% on each of Sesta and ES Toova. And note that Sesta has a 0.4% chance of the 4.5 on pulls 1 to 9 as well. So pretty good that way. Toova, of course, does not have an uprated for the 4.5. So something to bear in mind. But the fact that there are 2 featured units instead of just 1 featured unit for the Fateful makes it twice as valuable, especially if you don't mind getting one or both of those units. Okay. Same thing, pulls, you know, if you don't get those 2, the other 80% will be spread across any random 5-star in the game. So really, this particular banner, the regular Wanderer in the Binding Night Fateful encounter really depends on how much you like Sesta and ES Toova. And finally, the regular version, which is for us free-to-play characters who do not have access to the Fatefuls. So, Toova is actually uprated here, 0.4% chance for the 4.5. Sesta's as well, 0.4%. And then 0.8 respectively. So a true split banner. And of course, being that this is a free banner, the newest units will not be here. So I believe Yakumo as well as Alter Shannon should not be here. So keep in mind that if you're looking for Yakumo, you have to summon on his banner or one of the Fatefuls. So keep that in mind as well. Alright, so should you summon? Well, this one really depends on each of those 2 units and how much you value them. And of course, for people who are playing longer than in the game, such as myself, if you already have a version of Toova. So quickly speaking, of course, if you have a version of Toova, ES Toova's value is a lot less. You can grind out the appropriate codexes in order to side grade her. Now, what's so good about ES Toova? Well, she is a newest shade support unit with some DPS capabilities. When she has her EX move, she can grant Barrier Pierce to everybody for 1 time. So I don't know if that's 1 hit or 1 move. And revive all party members and recover AF again. So not bad. You can basically do an EX, recharge your AF, and then do another AF. Keep in mind that EX bars aren't fully charged up in turn 1 and 2 generally. It takes a couple of turns to kind of build that up. So you're not going to have that right away on turn 1 or turn 2 AFs. Her VC is not bad either. Type attack as on all party members 40%, as well as inflict break. But, you know, that can be done by anybody at this point. What makes ES Toova interesting is she has her second prayer unit. She can give something called cooperation, which is basically either called that or link. It gives all your units in the front line, whenever they attack, Toova's ability will give them an additional small hit tack. It doesn't really do a lot of damage, but it is a full attack and it should count towards an AF charge. And keep in mind that if you are in Shade Zone, that will be a 7.5 charge. So if you're using an all Shade party, I can foresee where with this cooperation prayer going on, and don't forget that Toova herself can act while she is praying, unlike with singing where you're incapacitated. That means if you all 4 attack, that will be 15 times 4, which is essentially 60% chance, 60% bar, half bar in one turn, provided you can kind of do all that. Very, very versatile in that sense. She also has abilities with these prayer moves to heal as well as recover MP. And then finally, she can also give herself a Banshee state. Well, that means she will not be the target of single target effects. AoEs will still touch her, but remember that anyone who's praying, if they get hit by any damage that's not an HP shield or reduced to 0, if they take any damage, including, I think it's including self-damage actually, they get out of prayer state, in which case their effect doesn't last anymore. And her main prayer effect is that 50% damage received down, which is very similar to Oratorio or Aisha's Water Song. Other than that, she can do some decent damage. She can inflict Elemental Break Shade, so for those who have Efi, you'll already know that that's quite good. She can set crits for everyone. And she can help all Luring Shadow units give crit damage up. So there is some benefit to her, but overall, I would actually consider her not 100% necessary. For those who already have Efi and Yakumo, you already know that those two would already wipe the floor with anyone vulnerable or weak to Shade. I don't think you need this additional unit to help support a Shade team. I mean, and considering you can still summon for both, this would be third on the list for sure. Another thing to keep in mind is Banshee state, remember that she can't take single target attacks. You know what the problem is, right? That means that if you use her with Efi, her blood contract won't get triggered unless it's AoE damage. And so that means that on single target attacks where Efi is vulnerable, you have one less unit up front to be randomly able to be taking damage for her, and so that reduces blood contract's effectiveness somewhat as well. So keep that in mind if you are using them all on the same team. And so for those reasons, I would say not 100% necessary. Efi and Yakumo currently are more than capable, and I can't see why you can't use someone like AS Radius or AS Yifa as your second, third, and fourth. Just kind of round out the team. ES Toova may not fit that role for you. Now, Sesta, on the other hand, is a more interesting character. Sesta is our first, well, not our first unit, wind/unit, but the first unit that can do all 5 moves in one go and actually start an awakened zone at one time. Now, there are restrictions to that. She has to be in the party with 4 frontline wind units, so her plus 3. But that's not too difficult. I mean, you can easily find one that works for you. And if you look at the other Fateful, AS Yifa and Alter, Suzette would fit the role, mind you, and then you can just fit a 4th wind person like AS Sora as your tank for that team. That would easily do the trick, or, you know, some other combination of units as well. And that means for 2 turns, you can definitely use that Divine Wolf stack at the beginning of turn as long as Awakened Wind is on to just shred the enemies. Don't forget that her attacks, if 5 in a row, will activate all her best moves, which is basically capping boost of power, int, and speed for the whole team, giving herself massive amounts of crit damage up, applying physical mental focus, which is called singular focus, which does crazy amounts of extra damage. Also puts elemental wind break wind and wind resistance down up to 100%. So you can just see how much it can do, and it does it in the right order too. So I mean, the elemental break wind, I believe, gets consumed, but the wind resist down stays, right? I mean, it's 100% down. She also can heal herself, but you're not probably using that. I mean, if you're adding the 3 moves, you're probably going to be using her boost move as well as the other boost move, and then finally her main DPS. And don't forget, if you activate it with the that charge that does all 5 in a row, it will barrier pierce and do a lot of damage. She is extremely interesting, and she has some offensive capabilities as a support, giving power, int, and speed. But as much as it pains me to say how awesome she is, and I would love to recommend her, you have to say at this point, she kind of is a luxury unit. And what I mean by that is, she does a ton of damage. She can barrier pierce. A lot of these things are conditional. They are not guaranteed because there are restrictions to how you do that, right? You saw the team comp required, and also the fact that it only lasts for X amount. So I get that you can say, oh, not it's not that bad kind of thing. Yeah, I understand that too, but it's not perfect. And so if we want to be realistically, as we kept up to Japan, I have to be more restrictive with my recommendation, and I understand how you guys are relying on me to kind of be a little bit more conservative. She would be more of a luxury pull. Can't say she's not good. She's great, but she still would be considered relatively as a luxury pull, in my opinion. So regardless of that, she is very, very capable of adding to your team as a number 1 slash or wind DPS. Anyways, hope that gives you some ideas as to what to do with these units or whether or not you should summon. As for myself, I will attempt to go for Sesta after this video is published in the hopes of adding something to my roster. I'm not sure how much I'll be spending, hopefully not too much. And, as I said, with gacha, sometimes you get caught up in it and try to go for it all out. So I do understand there'll be some temptation even for myself to pull on a substantial amount. So I'm going to try my best to not only land the unit, but hopefully land it in a reasonable amount and control myself if things go south. Anyways, wishing everyone great luck on the banners. Let me know in the comments below how you guys did, if you have already pulled, or what you think of my banner evaluation in general. Anyways, off to do some more content creating. Good luck, and don't forget that there are 1,000 stones waiting for you if you start the final, final chapter of the new Apocrypha. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.